All right, I'm calling the meeting to order, and first thing is the roll call.
Miss Hedlund,
Present.
Mr. Jacobson, Ms. Makovsky, Mr. Morrison is excused, Mr. Patterson,
Present.
Miss Salmon,
Here?
Miss Waller.
Present.
Okay. Any changes to the agenda, Pauline? Okay. Next would be approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Did anybody have any changes, corrections? Okay, would someone move that we approve?
I so move.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We don't have any public input, so we're going to move directly to some of the grant presentations. And the first one is going to be Deborah Larson from the Urbana Pops Orchestra.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share a few of the highlights from the Urbana Pops Orchestra 2015 season and how City of Urbana Arts Grant helped us bring music that's accessible, educational both for the audience and for the student musicians, and affordable to this community. On the second Sundays of February, March, and April, Urbana Pops Orchestra principal musicians gave recitals for free in the auditorium in the lower level of Urbana Free Library. This is our second year of co-hosting free recitals with the library, and we had anywhere from 40 to 80 people in the audience at any recital. And it's a way for us to showcase an instrument in the orchestra and give student musicians an opportunity to perform. And we get a very different audience, which is really nice, people that are just in the library and hear the music and come down. UPO has developed a percussion petting zoo, and this year we took it on the road to Read Across America at Lincoln Square. And it was the perfect tie-in to the library's summer reading theme, which was Read to the Rhythm. I love this picture because if you see the guy in the middle with the blue shirt and the black vest, that's our principal conductor, Daniel Sutherland. And it kind of looks like he's cueing the little boy playing the set of wood blocks. It's like he's saying, wait and go. On Saturday, June 13th, Urbana Pops Orchestra presented a full orchestra concert entitled Once Upon a Tune. And for the last 2 years, we've been in the high school auditorium, but the kitchen is being renovated, so the building is not usable this summer. So we held the concert in the Urbana Middle School cafetorium. In keeping with the theme, Laura Fegley from the Urbana Free Library read orchestra-related stories in the lobby for children before the concert. And that was really popular. And welcome to parents who were trying to keep their kids interested while they were just waiting for the music to start. We are very excited to have the distinguished bass voice of WILL's Roger Cooper. He narrated Peter and the Wolf. And if you haven't heard that one, it's a terrific piece that introduces children to the sounds of some of the instruments in the orchestra. Till this year, I didn't know that Sergei Prokofiev wrote both the story and the music, so that was kind of neat. Bottom right picture is our MC for the evening, Eve Harwood, and she provides oral notes as opposed to written notes in the program, so that makes it more accessible for younger people. And she always gives the audience something specific to listen for. At that same concert, Urbana High School junior Henry Ando played the clarinet on Mozart's Concerto in A Major, Movement 1, with the orchestra. And this year's composition contest winner in the junior division was Joshua Iyer. He's from Waubonsie Valley High School, and the orchestra premiered a portion of his larger piece, which was 40 minutes long. That was called Birds of Prey, and the portion we played was entitled Finale American Eagle. Giving high school students this kind of an opportunity, playing a full concerto, or not a full concerto, one movement of a concerto with a full orchestra, hearing your piece that you've only heard on a synthesizer played by real instruments is inspiring for the audience, but it can just be life-changing for these student musicians. For the July concert this year, we decided to try a smaller jazz ensemble, at Lincoln Square. And this concert was also completely free of charge, thanks to the City of Urbana Arts Grant. I particularly loved the visual backdrop of the 88 Broadway and seeing a really wide range of ages in the audience. I think that's kind of typical of jazz. It just brings together generations. For this concert, U of I's Clark Gibson played alto sax on a number of more traditional jazz charts, and Champaign native singer-songwriter Sarah McDonald shared some of what I considered original new jazz songs, some that will be featured on her first album. The jazz orchestration was also perfect to accompany 36 of the cast members singing a preview of this year's Urbana Park District Youth Summer Musical Theater production of The Pajama Game. That's the musical that Hernando's Hideaway is in, and Steam Heat. Hey There, that the gentleman in the middle with the striped pajamas sang Hey There at that concert. I won't sing that for you now. And then at the end of July, Urbana Pops provided the pit orchestra for the Park District show, which this year was held at the theater at Parkland College, I'm guessing for the same reason that we were at Urbana Middle School, that the high school was not available. I wanted to end this summary of the season with a video clip, but which video clip should I choose? Henry Ando playing the last cadenza of a 13-minute Mozart concerto? Urbana Pops Jazz Orchestra playing the theme from Family Guy at Lincoln Square with a couple off to one side swing dancing? Urbana Park District cast of The Pajama Game belting out the song 7.5 cents? Or from the Dune concert, music from the kids' blockbuster movie Frozen. And every so often you could hear in the background these tiny little soprano voices singing along to the parts that they recognized. It was just adorable. So I couldn't decide. But if you'd like to hear any of these or all of them, go to YouTube, search Deborah Larson Urbana Pops Orchestra, and you can watch them as well as clips from other seasons. Thank you again for helping Urbana Pops Orchestra provide musical experiences that are accessible, educational, and not just affordable, but this year, completely free.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like it was very successful. Does anyone, go ahead.
So, yeah, I saw Pajama Game, and
Did
it
you?
was truly a joy. But I have a question for maybe staff. Do you think it would be possible to add to our Urbana Public Arts webpage on the city site a calendar of both performances and exhibits that we're contributing to the sponsorship of?
Sure. I try to include events in our e-newsletter and our social media, and I've been wanting to include it in the website as well. It's a long-term project of mine, so hopefully it can happen pretty soon.
When do those updates come out? Is it once a month?
It used to be every 2 months, but since I started, I try to make it every month.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, well, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, our next grant presentation is Robin Kierton from the Community Center for the Arts.
Hi there. Let's see.
Hi.
Hi.
I can push.
Escape. And then,
Oh, and then, okay,
I'm
great.
sorry, I should have erased
Oh,
mine.
quite all right. Now I know what to do. Nope, that wasn't it. How do I make it not be escape? Close that.
Oh, you gotta do slideshow?
Slideshow.
Yeah, and then from the beginning. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Now you use that arrow, only touch that arrow.
What happens now? Yeah.
You played the
yeah.
wrong note.
Okay, hi again. We applied for a festival grant to present our 4th annual Race Street Bash, and I'm just here to talk down how that event played out. What we really want the bash to be is a completely free, completely family, completely local artistic celebration of Urbana. And so toward that end, all of the artists and vendors who participate are local residents, artists, and local businesses. We had about 600 hours put into from start to finish to making this event happen. The C4A admin staff, about 15 of our faculty performers participated in the day, and we had about 40 volunteers before, during, and after, doing cleanup. And it was kind of a drizzly day, and we thought, oh man, nobody's going to come. But they did. We had a really good turnout, estimated probably around 600, which is actually up from last year. And we think it's because we keep doing it around the same time, and so people are looking for it. I just thought I'd get all the dry facts and figures out of the way first. I know you have this in your packets, but our total expenses were around $4,000, and the Urbana Public Arts Grant covered half of that for us, which was great. One of the really great things about getting funding is that we have a better ability to compensate our artists, and that's an important part of it. We had about 10,000 of these flyers made, although we did have the black and white version made, and we distributed them through the public and private schools because we wanted to make sure families would hear about it, and that's one of our best ways to get the word out. We made a Facebook event page, and we sent out multiple email announcements. We got them on community calendars and radio stations, press releases. We even got some help from our distinguished collaborators, the Urbana Public Arts, on the day of the event. Based on last year's festival, we decided that rather than having our workshops and demos be ongoing, that we would have a set schedule because we got feedback from the staff and the participants that sometimes they just didn't know when something was going to happen, or they came in halfway through something. So we decided, well, let's make a schedule and let's post it everywhere so people know what to look for. And so it kind of gives you the first part is performances that were happening on the special flatbed stage that you'll get to see in a moment. And then all throughout the various tents, we had these different demonstrations going on. And I thought, in case you hadn't actually been able to see or attend the festival, this is a diagram that we used. You can see Main Street and Goose Alley. That's where we had, thanks to Urbana Public Works, we got the street closed down for that block. Also, based on feedback from last time, the number 1 there is where the big stage is. The number 2 was audience seating. The number 3 with the circle around it was one of our popular things called the cakewalk. Maybe you guys know what a cakewalk is. Some people don't. So it's like you walk. It's kind of like musical chairs, and instead of keeping the seat, you get a cake. And we had cakes donated and cupcakes donated by volunteer bakers, and the Courier Cafe donated some certificates for us and things like that. So. And the student musicians from the Bodacious String Band were the Cakewalk Band. And that happened during the set breaks between performances on the big stage right next door. If you look at 15, that was kind of an upgrade of what we've done before. We had a bunch of homemade games, like a life-sized Jenga, where the blocks were this big, and a giant chalked twister game, and some beanbag toss games. And so all super low tech. And you would think that wouldn't be, this was one of the hits of the whole day. It's like so many kids loved the novelty of this low tech stuff. They were just there the whole time. Our bubbles and sidewalk chalk almost didn't even get used. And we placed it next to the stage on purpose because we thought that sometimes the parents actually want to kind of hear the music, but they want to keep an eye on their kids at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we just reorganized the space that way. Along the top, you can see this big black D in number 16. That's our baby grand piano that we recently acquired, and we're very proud of it. And so we had piano demonstrations. And then rows 4 through 8 were food vendors and the sound tent and radio, WEFT and electric Try-It tent, which is also a big hit, was there. Down at the end, 9 and 10, that's where some hands-on workshops in I'm just going to keep going here. I'll give you a little visual tour. So here's the flatbed. All these hay bales were the brainstorm of Ed Clem, who provided the flatbed for us. And he thought the hay bales would make his flatbed trailer that he wheels in for us to be using as a stage look more attractive, and I think he was right. So here's some kids from our Bodacious band performing. We had a Judong Guan who participated. He was showed with us during the Boneyard Arts Festival. Makes these fabulous origami. They're just amazing. These pictures do them very little justice. But he also knows some quick and easy ones that he showed the kids. And we assigned some of our Youth Corps volunteers to help him just help the kids get going. And that was a really fun thing for them. The flow arts were a big hit. The flow arts, in case you don't know about it, combines dance with manipulating objects. Is that in their language? It's juggling and this thing that's balls on a string they call poi, and they have all kinds of sophisticated ways of moving them so that it looks very cool when you do it. And the kids were really captivated by that. Kim Curtis, local artist, headed up our face painting booth, and there just were some spectacularly painted faces in the audience. It was really cool to see them. We actually had a little tour of we'd have face painting parades between the sets at the cakewalk and stuff like that. One of our usual things is the Try-It tent, where we have a bunch of instruments and you can just come and somebody will show you how they work and get you to play them a little bit if you want to. So you can see that little girl getting to try her violin for the first time. We offer assistance, but some people want to just kind of check it out themselves, and we leave room for that too. And then, lest you think that it's only for kids, because we do advertise all ages, Beatles Sing-Along Workshop. Actually, I had to get the hook out to get those 2 faculty members, because they were supposed to go perform in our jazz band. I had to drag them out of the Beatles workshop because everybody was having too much fun and didn't want to stop. So that was the end of your musical tour. I hope this gives you just a little idea of what we did. It was just such a fun day, and it just makes you feel so good to see all these people come out and just be having fun and making music and doing art and expressing themselves. And so thank you very much for helping us be able to offer that.
Well, thank you for doing it. It sounds like it's very well organized.
Yeah, thank you.
Would anyone like to make any comments or ask questions?
How many people did you have helping you do all these things, getting these games and all that together?
We had about 40 volunteers helping us. Yeah, and it was really great. There was this for the games. One, she is a literal but also quintessential Girl Scout mom. She just scoped out all these things and said, "Oh, we have to do this," and it's like, "Okay, go."
Just get out of her way, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Any other
questions or comments? Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Okay, our next grant presentation will be Jess Baylor.
Flash drive with some images. Somebody might need to help me know how to get these going. She says,
Well, I may be mispronouncing it. I don't know. I don't know.
Is that all you need?
Oh, yeah.
I can probably take it from there, yeah.
Okay, let me know.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not used to public speaking, so forgive me. I did, well, you know, the best thing to do is just to get an image up there so you know that what I'm talking about. It's paintings. That's not what was supposed to come up. I don't know what the order is going to be then. I had them in order. But I'll just go through them so you can see. This was one of the paintings. They were 7 feet tall. And there were 12 of them, and this is just some examples of what they looked like. And that's the installation shot there. There was also a sculpture of this tiger flying. And the space you see is in the lobby of Era Records. And part of this grant was to fix up the lobby of Era Records so that it would be a place to show art. And I wish I had taken a before picture. This is the after picture. The before picture, when I was scouting locations, I thought I'd walked into a closet. It was like, is this place actually open or not, you know? And so that was a new thing for me. I'm a pretty private person. So to go out and say, I want to get my work out and I want to connect to a community was a growing edge for me. And to find this space and see a possibility, and then to talk to the guy find out who actually was in charge of it and talk to him. And it turned out he really wanted to show art. That had been something that was on his mind. And, you know, it's a new business. He only had so much funds, and he was going to do it later. So we wrote this together. Or actually, in consultation, I wrote it, but I was managing the whole thing, which was also a new experience for me. So this is the show. Art is a contemplative experience compared to the large crowd scenes. The art, people come in, there was an opening, we had a nice turnout, but people come in one by one, they come in slowly, they hang out. You find out what it means to them later when they talk to you often. We planned this strategically in terms of timing. There was a couple events, the Record Store Day, so a lot of people come in there are releases in the Era Records is a record store. So there are releases that people could only get then, and so people come from out of town and travel a distance to make an effort to be there for Record Store Day. So we planned this show to be up during that. So not only did we get the Boneyard traffic, we got the Record Store Day traffic. And I'd say about 200 plus people saw the show, which is
Great.
pretty good for a paintings show. And I guess I won't stay there. I'll go backwards. I feel too silly having that up. There's a video I think I won't show. It was quite a growing edge for me to do. This is the first time I've ever connected to a public situation. And I've done my work and I've gotten it out, and other people have dealt with what were really the logistics of getting it out. So I learned a lot by doing this. And it was also very, very tough for me because it was a time when I had health things happened all of a sudden. I lost my job. I was all of a sudden really had trouble just carrying on. And so that was another thing for me to learn, is how when you've written it out, you've signed your name on the line, and you got to come through, no matter what. And in order to do that, I had to pull in some people from who originally weren't supposed to be part of it, who just donated their time. Some wonderful publicists, Chantel Hoagland, who taught me some things about how to get on social network and get words out, and she made a lot of difference in how much the event was received, and somebody to help me put the backings on because my joints went out and I couldn't actually physically hammer together those big frames for 7-foot paintings. Got a professional person to help me with that. And I actually think it made the project stronger to have to pull these people in to make it happen. And that was an interesting experience. The idea actually started quite a long time ago for these paintings. My process is very slow and contemplative, and a few years ago there was storms going on in Montreal, and the storm drains couldn't contain the water, and the water was coming up out of the drains so in geysers so strong it was lifting cars up like 10 feet. So I was watching these videos of these geysers of water. And then in the same time frame, in maybe a couple of months, there was also demonstrations in the street about a certain university issue in Montreal. And so I was thinking about energy that cannot be contained. Energy that spills over. There are processes and forms the city makes or the society makes to channel flow and energy. And sometimes there's just more there than what was planned for. And mine has a more positive spin to it, a kind of release of transiting to another level, of the kind of energy it takes to go from one status quo to something that you wish for, that you aim for. So the idea had a kind of communal political subtext to it from the beginning, and so then I was looking around, where can I do this, where can I put this? And so this is where I found, along with Era Records, and also hopefully the idea too of our city. You know, it's not a one-horse town here. We have really, really sophisticated viewers. We have real depth in our art. You know, Kim Curtis was mentioned in the previous, and she's a local artist, and that's true, but she also shows in San Francisco and Chicago and somewhere else I can't remember. She's a national level artist. She just happens to live here. So that was the idea too. You know, this is serious things we do here. Show was up, got some good feedback, sold a piece. Somebody was very moved, it connected to her. She turned out to have had similar experiences to me health-wise and felt that in the work. So that was nice. Era Records' future plans for this space wants to reach out to high school students and college students and wants to become a venue for first-time showing. And I think my show brought in some people that had never even heard of the place and expanded the awareness for that venue. But the record shop, and then there's a skateboard shop and a comic book shop, is probably their target market is more towards the younger end of things. So that's where they're going to be looking for their next shows.
Well, it sounds like you had a good beginning for that, for them showing.
I feel that we did, and I also felt like I got it going so that this idea that had been floating out, oh, we'd like to show art, we'd like to show art. Now it's really there, you know.
Right.
It's all up there, it's ready, it's
right. But it's nice. It's a
easy to
combination
do.
of the artist and the business people getting together and making it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Anybody have any questions or comments? Well, thanks. By the way, I will mention Jess is going to be on Art Now next month. So, okay.
I just have one comment. I've actually talked to someone who wants to show his pieces there now. So you kind of
Awesome.
opened up a door for everyone else.
That's great. That's really what I wanted to do, you know, this energy that gets bigger.
Well, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. Can I just pull it out? I don't need to do anything.
You know, it,
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, I just have a thought. I don't know if it would, I don't know if it would be reasonable or feasible or how easy it would be, but wouldn't it be nice to have a little plaque in that space that would keep adding the names of artists who have shown there?
That would be fun.
Because, might look back on it in 10 years, and your name would be the first, so
Uh-huh.
that would be, I think, nice. And, but then 10 or 15 years, we might look back on that list and say, oh, wow,
That was their
this
first
person
show.
got
yeah.
started there, and now look where they are.
Well, that's a really great idea.
Find the wall.
You know,
It's
there
on the
are
wall.
people who got their degrees here who are really big names, you know,
Yeah?
and it would be fun. In fact, I personally know somebody who had a chance to buy Diebenkorn's Urbana paintings, which are now worth incredible amounts of money. And she thought $300 was too much. She didn't buy
Oh,
it.
well.
You know, people start here and they go places. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we're going to do some discussion of the Urbana Art Expo. Oh, your flash drive?
I got the flash drive.
Okay.
Hi. I just realized there's one mistake in the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Staff progress report should be item G
yeah,
under
it wasn't
discussion.
included. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that first.
So we'll do that first?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do the staff
Okay.
report first.
Well, first thing I have in the staff report is the Urbana Art Expo, which we will talk in detail in the discussion. But the jury is meeting this Thursday, August 13th, and we'll make the selection. And it's going to be a busy month because the expo is only about a month from now. For Artists of the Corridor, if you've noticed, we have some new artworks. These are by Ellie Saroni, who works at CoLab, and she's also an artist and an art educator. So Beth Darling's exhibition ended on August 4th, and this exhibition will go through November. We will have an opening reception on August 28th from 5 to 6. I think I've sent everyone an invitation, and it's open for public, so feel free to bring friends or family along. For Art at the Market, we had our second to last one on Saturday, this past Saturday. It was really successful. We had Rachel Storm from Under the Mouths of Bays, one of the grant recipients for this year. She taught how to make friendship bracelets, and that was really popular. We took a lot of pictures, and I will post them pretty soon. And also Bones, Jax, and Harmony played music from 9:30 to 11:30. It was also really popular. They drew quite a crowd. And for the first time since I started, they asked for an encore. So that was exciting.
Wow.
And since I didn't do a report last month, because the meeting was canceled last month, we had Ellie Pinzeroni and Maria Ludicki from CoLab teach visitors how to make patterns using vegetable stems. And Sam Payne and Claire Johnson. Sam Payne teaches at C4A, and Claire Johnson is a fiddler. They provided the music for last month's Art at the Market. And for the July episode last month, Art Now featured artist Glenn Davies, who's pretty well known in town. And for this month's episode, Ginny interviewed Mike Trippitti, who's, I hope I pronounced that right, Trippitti. But Mike is an actor and director, and is a well-known figure in the local film scene. Our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts keep growing, especially Facebook since I started using Facebook ads. Since I started boosting my posts, we just have a lot of new followers. I think we had an increase of almost 100 since my last report, so that's a lot. And we're also promoting different things through the community calendars and 40 North's website and whatnot. For fundraising, I've been working on an ArtWorks application. This is a grant program by the NEA. It's quite large and competitive, and we're applying together with the Public Art League, which is a local nonprofit which we always collaborate with for sculptures. And we're hoping to get get support for a new media art installation at the Boneyard Creek Park.
Can you say a little bit more about that? Because I wasn't aware of that, so if you can just explain
Sure.
what that is.
So right now we have the sculpture A Thirst at Boneyard, but that expires in 2016. So for the next cycle, we hope to get some sort of new art piece, but not the usual sculpture, so maybe something with lights or sound.
Great.
A new media piece.
Good.
So, and I talked to the Public Art League, and they had the same idea, so we just thought maybe we'll get funding for it, and then we'll try it out.
Okay, good.
It'll be the first. And also, a part of this grant application is, part of this project will be a similar, an event similar to what we had in April at Boneyard, the celebration event, with music and activities for kids and food trucks. That will be our launching event for the piece, if we get the funding.
Good.
Could you talk a little about how Public Art League would support the project too, if
Yes.
it were to go forward?
So if we get this amount, the Public Art League is willing to split the match through a cash support, and the city will also do a match in a form of cash and in kind. So
That's
we get
exciting.
a lot of people support.
That's great.
Any more questions on that?
No.
So lastly, Murals on Glass. This is also a discussion item, so I won't go into detail yet. But we had the deadline, we made the selection, and now we'll have these two works that you can see in the report up by the end of August. And then we'll have the kind of a dedication event the week of August 31st.
Okay. Next, we're going to have some discussion of the Urbana Art Expo.
So as I said, we'll have a jury meeting this Thursday, and we received a total of 28 applications, which I think is really good. We are only going to select 16 out of those. I was a bit worried at first because applications were not coming in, but they came in later. And we have some really high quality applicants, which kind of puts not pressure, but responsibility for us to make it a really good event. And it's a challenge to make Civic Center, look more like an art space because it's not supposed to be a gallery. It doesn't have adequate lighting yet, so we'll work our best to see what we can do. And now the challenge is to market this event as well as we can. Hopefully we get a lot of visitors. I have some posters ready where I'm sitting. So before you head out, feel free to grab a poster and share with your friends. Oh, thank you, Brandon. And 40 North is helping a lot with the promotions as well. They'll post it in their calendar. And Kelly actually designed this poster. Kelly White is the executive director of 40 North and also a really talented graphic designer. So we were really lucky that she helped us with that.
Well, I'll make more.
And the jury consists of Pat, Jason from the commission, and also Kelly and Amanda from 40 North. Yeah. Is there any questions or comments on that?
Oh, I just wondered, do we need any more volunteers to help on the day of the event?
Yes, I actually haven't started recruiting. I'm planning on putting up a post on volunteermatch.org, which is a website I usually use to find volunteers. But yes, we definitely do need volunteers.
I was just going to suggest if anybody here either wants to volunteer or knows somebody who would like to, we need help.
And I hope everyone at least stops by and say hi if you can.
I think that you could involve a local art teacher and their students, for example, to maybe help be greeters or whatever you need for the event. Do you think somebody might be interested? Although it's so early at the beginning of the school year, sometimes people are a little bit overwhelmed.
Yes, I hope so. For the Boneyard event in April, we did get maybe 4 students reach out to me to ask if they could volunteer. So that's I think my target demographic.
Maybe even some of the people who've been recipients of our grants in that genre might be interested or would be willing to
Absolutely.
help.
Thank you. Mhm.
Okay, anything else on that?
No, do you have anything to
I
say?
think I'm pretty excited too about the amount of people that have applied.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to
Mhm.
see what we have.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, light. I think our issue right now, at least in my mind, is the lighting. But I think that that's something that there are a lot of options, and I will be able to figure out.
Yes.
And then I'm meeting with Travis Hocut, who's he's the director at the IMC Gallery, and they have movable walls. He mentioned to me that we could use them. The only issue is that we're pretty sure they can't fit out the building because he built them inside the building and they're bigger than the
Mhm.
doorway.
They're very heavy. I've tried pushing them once, and
Yeah, so
people just
so
push.
I actually have work up there right now, and I'm taking it down tonight, and we're gonna measure them. So the outlook's probably not good, but we'll see.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, no problem. I talked to I briefly mentioned to people I know they work at Art and Design, like employees, about their Link Gallery walls, because those are movable, they're small, really well built. I mean, normally I'm sure they would never just let anybody take them, but because it's a city event, I thought it might be worth asking. The outlook probably isn't going to be that great for that because school will have started and those walls always have something, but I'll still follow up a little bit on that and see if not. I actually was going to talk to our former commission member, Kevin Hamilton, because since he has a little more authority over there now, maybe he at least has some ideas. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I'm really excited to see all the applicants.
Yes. And speaking of walls, we also
Right.
we have now 20, which is not enough, which is why Jason is still seeking some more. But we have 20 grid panels to display artworks, and this is lended to us by the Park District.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks to them.
Thanks to them for their in-kind support.
Yeah, Brandon.
I think it's just really good that that we're going through this process now too, because this will not only benefit future events if we can figure out all these logistical issues associated with improving the Civic Center space. It'll also allow potentially other art-related events to occur there, or maybe some that are more spontaneous and aren't going to require as much planning that go into it. So not unlike our last grant presentation, this could be a real value to benefit the space to have more events like this in the future.
That'd be great.
And the Civic Center already has the railing system installed, like what you see around this room and in the lobby. So that will also help with, displaying artworks.
But that was a result of your and Jason's efforts, right?
Sorry,
Correct.
what?
Was that a recent installation though, or had
Yes, that was something that we requested.
Okay, so yeah, positive changes are underway.
I'm just thinking about the Lincoln Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's some items that could be used while they're sort of in their hiatus.
Maybe.
Because of those ballrooms on the north end of the building and all the movable walls there. Maybe. I mean, if they're not being used.
If they do have movable walls, that's actually something to look into.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Thank
a lot of gigs at the former hotel. Yeah, sometimes you have to, when you're producing events, you have to think outside the box to find your resources. And the challenge becomes, how can I do this well without any budget?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on then to arts in the schools.
Okay. This morning I sent out a press release for Arts in the Schools. I believe everyone probably received that. So yeah, we're accepting applications until October 2nd. And it's a two-stage process. October 2nd is the deadline for proposals, and then they have a month after that to submit the rest of the application materials. And that's one of the changes we made for this year. And also, in previous years, we gave grants to schools, but this cycle, artists, organizations, community groups are also welcome to apply as long as they collaborate with at least one Urbana public school.
Okay.
I did consult with a couple of people from the school, maybe 3 people from the school district, and they read through the guidelines. And I also work with Barbara and Jeannie, who are in the working group for this. And I think the changes are for the better, and we'll see what happens. I mean, even with our regular grant program, it's 8 years old now, and we're still making improvements. So it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting to see what we can improve for next year.
I'm just curious, especially Jenny and Barbara, the date being in October and November, was that something that people from the schools wanted? Or I would think maybe they'd want to do it in the summer so they
That
had
is
more
something
time to
that
work on it.
Betty suggested
Oh,
when
okay.
I talked to Betty Allen.
Okay.
She says that as long as it's before Thanksgiving break, that
Okay.
that will allow them enough time to plan for the spring semester, which is likely where the project will take place.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I know on an earlier cycle, when we met with all the music teachers and art teachers in the community over at the Yankee Ridge School, some of the teachers talked about how sometimes they actually like to have events go on in the first semester because they're so busy in the second semester with testing and everything that's going on, that they actually like a chance to do things in the fall semester. So we'll find out, what's the best use of time and resources
Right.
after we try it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know because,
Yeah.
fall semester might also be better for me.
Well, I was just thinking, with the summer you have more time. On the other hand, people might be out of town or so on. It might be a little harder to get together with groups. So,
That's true.
yeah.
But just having Jeannie and Barbara on the team was really helpful because, it's hard to think of every scenario and try to
Right.
eliminate all the gray areas.
Well, and they've been thinking about it for some time. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yes, it requires just a lot of meetings with, art educators.
Yeah, so thanks to
locally.
both of you, because I know you put in a lot of time on this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For a worthwhile cause. And every time we went to an event from one of the schools that was produced, we also spoke with the teachers and got their feedback. So it's been kind of evolving for quite a while, and isn't it all like maybe a good stew,
Yeah.
or a good wine, maybe? For those anybody, I'm not a drinker, but
And I
hopefully
can't
it's
say-
fermented in a good way.
Good.
I didn't start this from scratch at all because it was already in place when I came here. And to make the guidelines, because we didn't really have guidelines before, I tried to copy successful programs from other cities that are in art education. But it turns out it's not that simple because their rules may not work for our city,
Right.
For example, basically all of the programs that I looked at, they say that the money cannot go to teacher salary. It can only go to programs and not, only artist honorariums is allowed, but not salaries. And so I put that in our guidelines because I thought that makes sense. But then, the working group brought up that, what about subs? We should be able to
Right.
help with subs. So we had to still make a lot of adjustments.
Yeah, or even transportation sometimes. They would like to expose their children to events or bring people in, but the cost factor sometimes keeps them from following through.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
If you know anyone who would be interested in something like this, please pass along the word.
Okay. And then our last discussion is going to be of murals on glass.
Yes. So as I mentioned in my staff report, we'll have the murals installed by the end of August, so before Sweet Corn, because we'll have a lot of traffic at Sweet Corn, and hopefully they'll be ready for people to admire. We have Phil Strang's Arl Morning and Slat Paintings by Nathan Westerman. So there are 5 people in the jury. Myself, Ginny was representing the Public Arts Commission, and Cynthia from the UBA, or former UBA director, and also Matt Cho and Maria Lux, a local artist. And it was pretty tough. We could only select, a very small number, and we had a lot of applications. We had 36 submitted artworks, which is really good, and it was already really hard. But it's interesting to notice that this is way fewer than what we had on our first cycle. The first cycle of Murals on Glass, we received 100 applications, or 100 submissions.
Yeah, but I should mention, because I was on that jury, there were a few artists who submitted, like 20.
Yes.
So it was
Exactly.
not necessarily a whole lot more artists so much as how many.
Just a lot of works per artist.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it this cycle, just 3 maximum per artist, and maybe that's a part of
Right.
it too. But it is an improvement from the last cycle, which saw only 20-something submitted
Right.
works.
But there's still interest, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I do have a
Um,
question. The murals that are already up, some of those have been up for 3 years, 5 years.
Mhm.
How long do we think they can be there?
So the Lincoln one, it still looks really good, and I think
Mhm.
it really enhances the parking garage. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to keep that for a lot longer until it shows some wear. It's also kind of my tester to see how long this material will last, just because this is a pretty new program, and every 2 years we will take them apart. So I'm going to keep that one up for some time. And the other one at the parking garage by Chris Evans, I think a portrait of Chip McNeil. That one is also extended for 2 more years. He has signed an agreement for an extension. And the ones at the Civic Center, there are 2 there, the fall one and the summer one, and they're both extended as well for 2 more years.
Okay. So basically, we're going to wait and see.
Wait and see.
Okay.
It was interesting, though, to see the variety of submissions for that,
Yes.
because it's a kind of an interesting venue for people
Oh,
to
yeah.
have that art there, you know. So it was fascinating to look at all the different submissions, and you can tell how these 2 are so totally different, you know. So I think that was one of the nice things about it. That
Yeah.
they chose 2 totally different types of
Mhm.
art. So
I printed out the submissions and spread them out on a table, and the room had never looked so colorful. It's very nice.
I know, it's really fun.
It is a lot of fun. Difficult.
Yes.
it was difficult.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
I don't know what the competition was, but I just love Phil's piece. I just think that I am so looking forward to seeing it at scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And interesting fact about the first one by Phil Strang as a scene from Arles in France. And I believe this is the city where Van Gogh used to live. And it's also a city where a lot of French graduate programs go for a study abroad program. So I'm hoping if there's a possibility, maybe they could come and speak at the dedication event about the city.
Okay, any other comments? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
I just wanted to note that an interesting side conversation that came out of this year's call was that there was some interest from Main Street businesses in possibly sponsoring a private murals on glass installation. I don't think that quite came together this year, but it's certainly an opportunity that the Public Art Commission is forging ahead and demonstrating how this could work. And that's another benefit of seeing what happens with Lincoln over time is if we were to later approach private partners, they might think of it more as a kind of a fixed investment for a number of years. So if we can assure them, we have good reason to believe it'll last 4 years, that'll help too. But I think we're going to try to pursue those options and create more opportunities for this I guess canvases all throughout our downtown if we can find willing business owners or property owners who want to sponsor.
That's good news.
Yeah, and it's a shame we can only select so few every cycle.
I know.
So if there's some private sponsors, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I've now become an instant expert thanks to Wikipedia on Arles and Van Gogh. So he produced 300 paintings and drawings while he was there, many of which appear to be of the cityscape. So I wonder if there's some way that could be used to to help promote. I mean, and a lot of those images are probably as images, maybe in public domain, at least for use of in promotional displays.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can definitely use that in the website and during the dedication event. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's about it. Did anybody have any announcements they wanted to make?
I think we have to congratulate our coordinator.
Actually.
We should, yes, I was just reminded by Barbara, we should congratulate you on your
Oh.
both marriages.
Thank you. to one guy, so.
One guy, two ceremonies.
Two ceremonies. Thank you so much. I actually just remembered I have a quick announcement. This grant cycle, we sponsored Sioux Superstars by the Champaign-Urbana Area Project, and they have a concert coming up, and they sent us 2 tickets. So if anyone is interested,
Okay.
first come, first
Thank you.
served.
Okay, would anybody like to move for adjournment here?
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.